And then,
Yeah, I was just.
Hello.
I'm ready, girl.
You ready? Are you ready?
Ready as I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna kick off with the public hearing before the actual select board meeting. So I have a little script here. Good evening and welcome to tonight's public hearing for October 7th, 2024. This hearing is called by the select board to provide information and allow public comment regarding the ballot questions for the November 5th municipal referenda. Copies are available for tonight's public hearing. I think they're up front.
Yep.
We're also joined tonight by the Ordinance Review Committee to help answer questions pertaining to proposed ordinance amendments. Before we begin, I'd like to cover some general housekeeping items. This hearing is to hear questions and comments on the warrant articles presented, so we will not address each warrant article in a specific order. Instead, we'll listen to questions and comments as they arise and provide information whenever possible. During the public hearing, members of the public will be called upon by Select Board Chair, ensuring that everyone who wishes to participate has an opportunity to do so. When called upon, please step up to the podium, state your name and your town of residence. We ask that the audience members be respectful when someone's addressing the committee and refrain from side conversations. Any individuals who are continuously disruptive may be asked to leave the hearing. Thank you all for attending tonight's meeting. Now we'll turn the floor over to public comment. Any public comment for the public hearing?
This is just for the,
This is just the public hearing, then we'll get into the actual select board meeting. Come on up.
My name is Dave Dulong. I live at Chapel Shores Drive. I have a few comments. The first one would be on Article 6. It's the proposed zoning map change. And it shall the town of Lyman zoning map adopted on June 1st, 2010, as amended, be further amended as proposed. And then it adds that there's copies of the text of the proposal available, etc. I have a few questions. And also it says, no changes to zoning have been made on this map. My first question is, the map provided as the current map, that's the one that is in the packet, is dated December 1997, last revised 1/28/05. Where is the map that's June 1st, 2010?
I don't know. I do know that there are many different maps, like this map that is attached here.
But what I'm saying is the article
I
refers
heard you.
specifically to
I
that.
heard you. But what I'm saying is, there's several maps. And that map is different from this map. There's many maps in circulation. Where this June 1st date 2010 came from, I'm not sure. But clearly the one here, yes, is dated 1/28/05, and this one is June 1, 2010. Where that date is, I have no idea. Do you see the date on that one, Matt?
I don't think there is.
Oh, I do. It says last revised 1/28/05.
Yeah, that's the one I see.
Obviously, the article has an issue with it because it's not referencing the right map. My next question is, the current zoning ordinance states in Article 2.2.1 that the districts are located and bounded as shown on the official zoning map entitled Zoning Map of Lyman dated December 6, 2014. Where is that map?
Say that again. Can you start where you're
Okay.
referencing?
The current zoning ordinance states in Article 2.2.1 that districts are located and bounded, and I quote, "Districts are located and bounded as shown on the official zoning map entitled Zoning Map of Lyman dated December 6th, 2014. Why are we not using that map as the current map?
That was February 6th, 2014.
Okay,
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of maps. We don't know which the map, who's to say that this map is any more accurate than that map, which are dated totally different. This one's dated one date and that one's dated another date.
They're also part of like town records. So if you just looked at a
Every
history
one
of
of
all
them
the
are part of
warrants.
I would assume that if we were going to be asked to vote on a change, we would have the information correct. Third, okay, the current zoning map identifies several boundaries with specific distances, for instance, and what I'm talking about is the current zoning map that you furnished. I don't know about these other maps, but the one you furnished.
Okay.
It shows boundaries with specific distances. For instance, the commercial zone on Route 111 is shown as being 1,500 feet on either side of the road, whereas the new proposed map has deleted all dimensions. How is it going to be possible for anyone to figure out where the zoning starts and ends?
This map that is being proposed has the tax map overlay on it. That is the biggest difference. That's why there wasn't a need,
But if
To
you're out
have
there
those
surveying
measurements?
property, how are you going to know where the line is?
because you can go in and look at the measurements. This
Have you
map
looked
does
at
not
that?
have-
Have you looked at the scale on the
actually
new
been-
map?
I've actually been into the assessor's office and I've pulled it up to make sure that you can
Well, I
get these
spent-
distances,
I-
and you can.
I'm an engineer and I spent time as a surveyor, and let me tell you, it's a lot better to have something that says it's 1,500 feet than it is to try to measure off a map that shows that much being 1,500 feet.
I also want to clarify, the town's not responsible for like survey accuracy. Everything like the zoning maps, the tax maps, those are for like tax assessing purposes. This is just, to kind of see the layout of the tax parcels on the map. We're not responsible to have it down to like a survey accurate portion. If you want that, you can hire a surveyor and survey your own property.
I also spent time on the planning board, and zoning issues become an issue at the planning board. The planning board has to determine whether a piece of property is actually within or without the area. Believe me, when I was on the planning board, knowing that it's 1,500 feet is a lot better than guessing at where it might be.
That seems as though it would become a civil issue, though. It would probably go to court.
No,
We
it'd be a
don't- we're
planning
not
board
in the
issue.
Business of saying we're 10 feet over or 5 feet over. If they have a boundary dispute, it's gonna go to civil.
This
court.
is actually going to clarify a boundary dispute because the tax map overlay is directly on the map. So when they're looking at a parcel, so a property owner comes with their application, they'll be able to tell if it's split between a zone, if it's in one zone or another zone.
Mhm.
The current map, the way we have to decide, like this thing right here, I can't decide where your property is and where it falls in the zone by looking at that.
Can I ask why the 1,500 feet was taken off? Why the 500 feet was taken off somewhere else?
It just
and the other-
wasn't needed. It simply wasn't needed with
It
the,
was
with the
replaced with a
tax map
scale.
overlay.
Well, you don't think it's needed. I personally think it's needed.
I think you should vote no.
I plan to. The map shown, the map shown as, quote, the text to be proposed amendments is not dated or identified in any way to distinguish it. So how can we be assured that what we are voting for is exactly what's going to happen in the end?
After the election, like if the map gets voted on,
How do
the
we know that's
clerk,
going to be the map?
I'm-
That's not
excuse
identified
me,
anywhere.
I'm explaining it to you, so try not to interrupt and you'll get your answer. The clerk will attest a true copy, and that attestment will be dated. And that will be the official map, if it's voted.
And
After the
clearly,
voting?
If
After
voted,
the
yeah.
voting, yeah. After the voting. Who's to assure that it's the right map? Here again, this going right through it. First of all, I can't believe that the attorney looked at this because everything in here is different than what should be done. I mean, you haven't referenced the right
question?
issues.
is there a question?
No, I'm making a comment. Can I make
Is
a
that
comment?
question?
I'm making a comment. There's so much different in here that I've identified that's not correct. You're gonna put it in a warrant and it's not correct. If somebody wants to sue the town over this, it's very easy to do because it's not correct. In my opinion, I think a bit more research and thought should have been expended before this revised map was put out.
Thanks, Dave. Any other public comment for the public hearing portion?
Is there more comments? Nobody? Okay.
Just got something to add.
Absolutely.
It's
Can
just
you
because,
just, sorry, just to be annoying, can you push that down so people can?
I know, I'm only 5'8", give me a break.
break.
Just to add to
Oh, no, I
Dave's, the only thing with the 1,500 feet, the only time you're gonna run into an issue is when it's like there's a parcel that's cut in half by the zone.
Yep.
If someone goes to do like a development or goes to put commercial property or whatnot, on that survey, they're gonna have to show the zone line. And to Dave's point, the only way you can really show the zone line is if you have a defined footage. So it might be worth giving some thought about, actual distances, but that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Well, my copy has those measurements, the footage on it. I believe this line is somewhere on my property, but I'm not gonna survey it and find out unless so I'll put that on somebody else next time.
Fair. Okay. Other public comment for the public hearing portion? Come on back.
This is about the ordinance. This is on Article 7. The town of Lyman the town of Lyman Municipal Charter adopted November 6th, be amended by further amending Article 4.2, as proposed, which basically, the town has several boards. One of the boards is the Assessment Review Board. This board is authorized by the state statute Title 36 taxation. The main statute also says that in municipalities without a board of assessment review, if the assessors or the municipal officers refuse to make an abatement as asked for by a taxpayer, the applicant may apply to the county commissioners, if we had a board, they'd be applying to the board, but If he doesn't, he has to apply to the county commissioners within 60 days. If the commissioners think that the applicant is overassessed, the applicant is granted such reasonable abatement. If the applicant fails, the commissioners shall allow costs to the municipality taxed as a civil action in Superior Court and issue their warrant of distress against the applicant for cancellation, for collection of the amount due to the municipality. Either party may appeal upon the discretion of the county commissioners to the Superior Court. All right, right now, the system we have a Board of Assessment Review. We've got people that are on it. They're unpaid, costs the town absolutely nothing. However, now, it costs the taxpayer nothing, because if he has a complaint about his assessment, he can go to the appeals board for free and get a ruling. Now, if he doesn't agree with the ruling of the assessment board, he has to go to Superior Court. But he gets the first round for free. The other way, he's gonna have to pay. Remember, this board is free to the town, volunteers on the board who collect no pay, and it's not costing the taxpayer a dime. So we want to abolish that opportunity for people to save a few dollars and make them go to the county commissioners for their solutions. I just don't see that as helping the taxpayers at all.
Thanks.
You closed the comment period?
I have not closed the comment period. We're still in public. No.
Okay.
Nope, that was
I
for the
just, I
article.
thought
That was
that
for
we had
Article
moved
7.
on, I'm sorry.
Nope, that's for Article 7. So we're still in public hearing for the referendum. If anyone has any other.
Before I got on the board.
if
No,
anyone-
that wasn't part of zoning ordinance. That's the.
It's the whole referenda.
Yeah.
You all just have
That's
a
why we're
huge
here
chunk
with
of
that.
it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right.
Any other public comment before we close the public hearing? Okay, we're gonna close the public hearing. We'll conclude the public hearing and we're gonna jump into the regular select board meeting. So thank you everyone who came tonight for the public hearing portion.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome to stay for the select board meeting. Good luck.
It's always fun, Buzz, you know.
All right, so welcome to the October 7th, 2024 regular meeting of the Lyman Select Board. This meeting is a public proceeding and is being recorded. Everyone will join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So, we have done our public hearing. We are going to jump into public input. Before we do that, I do just want to share with everybody in the room that last select board meeting, we met with the forester. The select board approved for the forester to award the bid to Boyer Logging to do the timber harvesting on the town-owned properties, with the exception of the 2 lots that had access. We were figuring out which way we were going to access those properties. Since that meeting, the forester has met with the vendor, and the vendor is going to access those lots via their own property. So it will not be accessed via Old Ben Davis Road or Duke Lane. So just wanted to share that before we jump into public comment. So now, public in attendance will have up to 5 minutes to address the board. Please use the podium to address the board, and please be respectful of others. So if anyone has public comment.
Josh Young, 146 OBD. Do you know how he's accessing that? Because I know like I abut one piece. I think he has like a 6-foot gap of land that he abuts the town piece. Is he going across Chris's land? Or I haven't talked to
I
anybody.
personally don't know. I asked specifically if we had determined if he could access it via his own property.
Yeah.
And that was finalized. I just got that information today.
Okay.
So that's why I know Lindsay's working on, he's putting together the map of exactly where he's going to go. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way, when I'm talking.
Mhm.
He's working on coming up with the map of where he's gonna exactly go,
Yep.
so that it can be shared with everyone who has expressed concern about that. So,
Okay, is he gonna, well, the only reason why I'm asking, is like I said, it's 6 feet, and then you got my property, and you got Chris's property, so I just, if he wants to go across my property, I have no problem with it, but I just wanna make sure we mark out like
Yeah,
an area, you know what I mean, before we just go in.
that I don't have the answer to, I just was trying
Nothing's in
to,
writing.
You don't have anything, Dave?
No, nothing's in
so it
writing.
will be all finalized before anything happens.
Are you guys gonna put it on the agenda for one of the, like, future meetings?
I think Lindsay will communicate that to anyone who has expressed concern so far, is that
Yeah.
Well,
so-
that, and I think we're gonna have to anyway, because we're gonna have to
approve that part?
approve that part,
Yeah,
Right.
so.
is Jason gonna come out and kind of go over it all, or?
I think
don't know.
that's what the forester's working on right now. I
Okay.
just don't have anything like
Yeah.
confirmed
Yeah,
to
so it's very,
share.
like, new.
Yeah.
No, I understand. Okay, I just want to make sure, like, you guys understand, like, everything, like, that's going
Correct.
on. That, hey, people aren't just starting to cut and stuff like that and whatnot, so,
Absolutely.
okay.
And we haven't approved that part, right? Last
Yep.
meeting, we only approved everything
Everything
else. So,
Okay.
nothing for that has
I'll be
been
cur-
approved, but we're working on the details of that. So I just wanted to let people know that that's as far as we've gotten with that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, will you, so you guys just email will be how you guys will,
she'll email what she gets, and then like Dave's point, it will have to be on an agenda because we'll have to approve that piece,
Right.
because we did not approve that
oh,
piece
yeah, the
last time.
access wise, okay. Makes
We
sense.
said everything but.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Josh.
So on the risk of being redundant, Bob Perry at Duke Lane.
Yeah.
Lindsay, anybody who's reached out to you will be notified, or
I have your email, Josh, and there's a couple people on there. So I'm just waiting for the forester to come
Yeah.
back and like confirm
okay,
how he's accessing it exactly before I send that off because we just know Bullier agreed to use his property. So the
so at this
forester,
particular time, there's no consideration for either Old Ben Davis or Duke Lane.
correct.
Thank you.
Good evening, Brian Marston.
Yep.
78 Old Ben Davis Road. So this, I guess there's a few questions and concerns that I have, just basically, mostly questions there. The cutting that's to be done with those two parcels that equate 40 acres of both sides, I think I'm correct, they're both 40 acres for both those lots.
As far as I know.
I can't hear very well.
As far as you know?
Acres for both of those two parcels.
I don't know the acreage size of the
Right.
lots.
I know it's all mapped out on the bid.
Yeah.
So between 30 and 40, we'd guess there, it's a consistent portion of the woods there. Are they clear cutting it? Are they select cutting
No,
it?
select cutting.
Select cutting it. And select cutting it, how are they defining select cutting?
That would be under the guidance of the forester.
Mhm, understood. You guys don't have any loose interpretation of what that would be? Just give me an idea.
I don't. right
Okay,
now.
I'll look that up there. Okay, what is the intent after the logging is done that the town has? Do you have any future intentions for that property, for those two parcels?
Not
Not this
yet.
Not
time,
yet,
no.
just on that, just,
Just
cutting it
harvesting
there,
town
just
owned
harvesting it.
properties that made sense to harvest.
okay. That lumber harvesting, pulp harvesting,
All.
all, okay, all that there, so it's like cutting. Okay, does the town have any plans for selling that in the near to far future?
We have no plans
at this
right
time.
now. We're beyond the harvesting.
Mm-hmm. Would the abutters have any, what's the word I'm looking for? Say first dibs on possible purchasing of that? Those
We're not
properties.
even, I'm not even gonna go there
Yeah.
today.
Right.
We don't have any
We're
plans at
not-
this time beyond the harvesting project.
Yeah, fair enough. I appreciate
And
that.
that's with any town parcels, not just these two specific.
Mhm. Right. Okay. Let's, when did this evolution plan to be started as far as logging? Is there any loose plans on that? Is there
Well, so it's, I
preemptive
think
plans?
others, the vendor and the harvester have been given the green light to go, with exception of these two, based on needing to make the plan for access.
So I would be looking forward to late fall or,
I don't
Early
know the
spring.
answer to that. That'll come out once we approve that section.
Okay.
So
approval process begins when?
it would be on the agenda next time, likely based on, as long as the forester has the opportunity to put that plan together.
Okay.
So,
All right. So between now and the next select meeting.
We would have to
No,
approve
no,
it
no,
at a
not
board
necessarily.
meeting. We would have to approve, give the green light to proceed at a future board meeting. But when we give that approval, we're not saying, hey, make sure you tell us exactly what day you're doing it.
Mhm.
That's not something that we have.
Right. Well, I wouldn't be
So
looking
in
for an
this
exact date,
instance-
just a general, but
Yeah, I
Understood.
get it. In this instance, really, we heard the concerns of everybody about the private roads, and
Mhm.
we've addressed those.
Right.
These are town-owned properties that this is the plan with them.
Yep.
So we'll do
Fair
as
enough.
much communicating as we can, but that's sort of why we hire the forester, who then goes through the process with the actual timber harvesting people, right? So the forester goes through that process with Bollier,
Mhm.
and then they work out those details.
Okay.
So,
Right. Good. Well, thank you for your answers.
Awesome, thank you.
I have a question.
I might not have
Bobby,
an answer.
Bobby Hahn. I'm Josh's dad.
Yeah.
And Joe, I want to let you know, from the last meeting we were here, Josh became a new dad again. A little girl.
Congratulations.
Me another grandfather. But I have one
I was
question.
like, that's not a question.
No, well, it's,
Exciting.
you know what? It puts a little bit of,
Appreciate that.
just livens it up in here a little bit. I only have one question. I know the forester was here and he gave you guys some papers. And I think it should be privy to the town. How much is the town making on those lots? What is the money? I mean, I know a percentage. But what kind of money are we making on that, getting that wood cut?
Well, so that's all gonna depend on the outcome, right?
Yeah.
So that will.
Well, I
and
understand
then
it.
that
What's the,
would all be-
I mean, I understand you said the percentage,
No.
but a lot of it's going to the logger.
But yeah, he takes his costs.
Right. So he's paying, I understand he's paying us, but like the forester stood here and said, he says, oh, with the price of fuel, he's got to get his money, he's got to get this, he's got to get that. And it is what it is. I understand all that. I live life every day just like you do, Dave, like Joe, all you people. Is it worth our while to have all that stuff cut now? I mean, if the economy's that bad, is it worth our while? I mean, why do we need that money, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, I think right now they're town-owned properties that aren't doing anything.
Well, I feel like Brian just said, why aren't those lots put up for sale? So we can get tax dollars off of them.
They could be, but
Well, I guess I'm wondering, what if I come from away and I want to buy a piece of property. I don't want it stripped. Oh, geez, if that still had the trees on it, I might like to have that land. I don't understand. Well, I understand,
Best case.
Vicky, I understand I understand what logging is.
This is.
Get way ahead of it ourselves. This whole thing has been a process that we started
I understand that. I guess I'm asking a question.
of what to do with town.
I'm asking a question. What's the cost? I mean, what are we gonna make? Are we gonna know that? Are we gonna know what we made for money?
We are not gonna know the exact dollar amount today, but when it's done, absolutely, that's public information.
Yeah, okay.
I think in the situation in the interim, until such time that we do make a determination that we might sell the property, it behooves us to take a look at some opportunities to gain some revenue from it. Therefore, the tier.
Well, I feel it, yeah.
I'm with you in terms of, I'd like to see at least a range of amounts that come to the town. But I think there's too many variables there for the forester to give us that information.
What my point is, I understand the conflict here, but what my point is, like you could talk about us on the OBD road that we don't want this one. If there was a person that moved in, they're residents, and they're gonna help us, and they're gonna do this, we would welcome them in. The town of Lyman has no residencies. That's the reason for us. And I understand we're gonna go through, Boyer's gonna do his own thing. The town of Lyman has no residencies in them properties. They're just gonna come in and do what they wanna do. I'm not being bad about it. I'm just saying from my perspective. The town of Lyman's gonna come in and do what they want. They have no residence. And then when they're done, they're gonna leave. It's gonna be selective cut. It's gonna be all that, and they're gonna leave. And then what are we gonna do? Now we're gonna start selling it? When I know people that tell me, if the town put a decent price on that property, there'd be probably people be interested. And then you get tax dollars off it every year. Not just a one-time select cut.
Not to say that wouldn't happen at some point, but part of the process is we have to determine the parcels. We have to determine parts of town that they're in, what the future of the town looks like, where say you wanted to put a new fire station in, whatever, or a public works department or what, I'm talking about the future
Not on Old Ben Davis Road.
and stuff. And so
Hey, don't start,
And so-
Vicky.
No offense.
Don't start, we'll
I
put
don't
it
mean
up
that out
here.
there right
as
now.
those decisions get made or what they look like, then the process will be either we sell it or we keep it for a specific thing. Those things aren't, rub the crystal ball, man. I'm not.
Oh, no,
looking
I
at that
understand
stuff, man.
that. I can't see the
This is just
future.
part of the process.
I can't see the future either. But I could see a person coming in and say, okay, I wouldn't mind buying 20 acres. I wouldn't mind buying 10 acres if the town's gonna split it up and look at it with the trees on it. Then I can picture what I wanna do there, what trees I wanna cut.
We hear you, and I appreciate.
I mean, I just don't understand. I guess what my point is, I just don't know where the thought came from that all of a sudden we are in the logging business.
I don't think it's a thought that we're in the logging business. It's a thought that we have town-owned properties that are not yielding anything to the town right now.
Okay.
And this is sort of the
And it, yeah,
most efficient way to make something happen in the interim. So-
and I guess
and
one
then
more
we-
thought, and I'm not being, like I said, this is just my thoughts
Yep.
personally.
There.
I feel that, okay, so you clear these big lots of land, and then it's gonna be, somebody comes in, oh, geez, land's all cleared. I don't have to clear anything. Now I can put a house lot here, and I can grow trees. I can do another house lot here and do house lots there. It's just, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, and that's absolutely.
I tried to lighten it up. I didn't want to leave on a bad
Appreciate you
note.
sharing it. You're not leaving on a bad note. That's what public comment is.
It's all good. So I appreciate your time, and I thank you for putting it on, moving it down the line just to make sure we all get what we need to know.
Thank you. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi there, Josh Gribb, 218 Duke Lane. My wife and I's property abuts about 3/4 of this town-owned property at the end of Duke Lane. Just for a question, because I'm kind of all new to this, just for my own knowledge. At the beginning of this process versus proceeding with this process, let's say it goes to fruition that it does get cut.
Yep.
What's the requirement or notification process for abutting landowners?
To my knowledge, there's not one. It's no different than if I chose to do it on mine or you chose to do it on yours.
Okay.
So,
We obviously going through our property, we noticed markers or survey. Has the property lines been surveyed? I'm assuming that's what those are up
I
from.
believe that's part of what the forester was like.
It was in the process.
In the process. Okay, so that wasn't like an official survey. That was just the
No,
forester.
they usually have a guideline so that they don't go beyond certain spots and go onto your property by
Okay.
accident.
Spinning off of that, what assurances can I be provided as the abutting landowner that my property won't be affected, both by wildlife standpoint, trees, or contamination from diesel, oil, trucks, or trees falling onto my property, etc.?
Mhm. I think that gets determined as the plans worked out, and I think those are questions that you can email to the town manager, and she can work with the forester and get that information back.
Okay. Have we looked into wildlife biology at all? Is this going to affect the population of like deer or
That has
anything
not been
else?
part of this process, to my knowledge.
Because I think that's a pretty important part, because at least that part of the town, or at least that area in which I live, it's pretty remote in terms of the amount of acreage. And I know there's a lot of wildlife back there. And if all these trucks and, all this land gets cut, it's going to severely detour, the sport of hunting. If this gets green lighted in the fall during the middle of hunting season, I'm sure that's going to be, pretty deterring of people as well. And obviously it's going to affect my wife and I's enjoyment of our own property, because again, we're surrounded by this and we're going to be listening to this for however long. So noise consideration is a huge component for us too. So all things that I would like to be considered or weighed or be notified about, so we can have an opinion on it too.
I had 2 summers of logging previous in land that I used to recreate across the street from my house, and I understand your concerns and all. I never got told that anything was happening. They did what they did. People have a right to do what they do on their own property. I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and I mean, if the point is you're gonna clear the land to gain a little bit of capital just to sell it off
But you
later.
guys keep
We
talking
didn't say
clear,
so,
and we
so
are
we didn't
not
say
clear
so.
cutting.
But I
It's
mean, that's probably what's gonna
it's-
happen.
Best forest practices, there's a method to it,
But why cut it if it's just gonna be sold?
but we didn't say we're gonna sell it.
It's gonna be sold.
So,
Fair.
you know what?
Okay,
We're going around in
Public
circles.
comment.
okay. Thank you.
Come on,
Thank
it can't
you.
be like that. People have
I
people
totally,
have concerns that keep.
I do,
we
and
need
I
to know.
understand that, and
Don't be like
I just said I understand that.
It can't be like that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Any other public comment?
I got one more question.
Sure. Sorry, you gotta come on back.
I know. Do you know if any kind of like wetland impact is taken into account? I know the piece, you live at the end of Duke Lane, so I live at the end of OBD. The piece across from me is pretty wet. And then the piece that's beside me, there's wetlands all over the place, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if like there was, if like when they go log it, if they're gonna be running right through vernal pools and stuff and like,
That's why we hire a forester.
do
That's
I
his-
I didn't see any like wetland flags out there like a soil scientist would hang. So I wasn't sure if like that was like a delineation or if forestry fell under that same thing or if they just like, I don't know.
They have a little more leeway, but
Just because I was,
as you know.
yeah, he
you
brought
know.
up the habitat thing and I was like, okay, well, I know for instance, there's a pretty big swath of,
There's no resource protection area out there.
Yeah.
Or the forester would have
right,
known that.
right. But there's definitely like vernal pools. Like there's definitely vernal pools that are on like the main state website. And like, so like, that's why I was kind of curious about. It's like, can they like just impact those? Is that,
Well, we'll have to look where they are.
yeah.
We'll
Okay.
see what
No, I
the
wasn't
design
sure.
is.
I don't know anything about forestry, so
Yeah.
I wanted to ask a question. Just
So
because
I'm
he
just
brought
gonna, I'm just gonna reel it back just a smidge here, because public comment is typically like, everybody sort of talks at us and we take that, and then we might bring information back next time. I know a lot of people know this. If people have very specific questions, please send them to the town manager, because
Yep.
I'm not gonna have the answers on the spot about, this isn't to sound disrespectful, about hunting or noise levels or who's gonna tell who or all of those things. These are things that are in motion, so if there's concerns and questions, send those to town manager. It's the Lyman email address, and she can pull together all that information.
Yeah.
And I think she has been doing some of that. And the forester's working on that plan. So I don't want to get into a back and forth and misspeak or give false information or give anyone a sense of something that's going to happen or not happen. It just adds to the confusion. So I
I think, yeah.
appreciate that people have opinions, and I think, I hope it's fair to say that we've heard that and we've tried to address that as we've gone. So I hope that people feel that way. I know sometimes it is a little weird, but
We just appreciate you guys listening to our concerns.
so I guess I'm just trying to reel it back, like, this is our public comment
Yep.
time of, it's not a public hearing, it's not this back and forth, and we're not trying to fight with people, we wanna hear the concerns. But if there's specific pointed questions, that's information that's gonna come from the forester specifically.
Mhm.
So if people can, not just you, but
Yeah, yeah.
if people
No,
still
I
have
understand.
concerns or questions, please send them to Lindsay, the town
Sounds
manager.
good. Well, thank you very
And
much.
then it's also documented and it's out there
Thank you, guys.
forever.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Anyone?
In light of what was just said, I'm
Sorry.
probably gonna break those rules, but I just want to say my opinion that I've enjoyed this property for over 20 years since I moved here in 2000. It would be a shame, and it breaks my heart to see such a great piece of woods be farmed out and not left fallow as everyone enjoys it. It's the charm of living here. And to sit there and sell that lifestyle that we all moved here for and stayed here for a little bit of money, I think we have to weigh our options. So like Mr. Eon had said there, like Bob had said, is it really, are we getting that much money to affect so many people's lifestyles and enjoyment of their neighborhood? The town may own it, but we are the town. And for the town to step in and make a lifestyle choice and that changes our lifestyle is a bit, I don't know. I can't come up with a good word for it, but it's just doesn't seem right. So for one, I would like to see the town of Lyman basically cancel those plans to have those logged, unless we're going to make a bajillion dollars, which will lessen our taxes. But if you're going to make a small amount of money, that really isn't going to lessen our taxes. I'd rather you just keep the property fallow. That way we can enjoy it longer. And if the town has more profitable or expansionist plans with it, bring it up to the constituents here, and we can all put our opinions on it. So thank you for hearing my opinion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just have one last thing, then I gotta go. And going off what Brian said, I agree with him. I don't want people making decisions to do that, and they can walk away and say, well, I can't see it from my house. All good. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't bother me, I can't see it from my house, but we all can. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
On that note, we're out of here.
Okay.
No, thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm Laura. I live on Duke Lane. This is my husband Josh, who spoke earlier. We're relatively new to the town. We moved in like a year and a half ago. It's our first home. We're really excited to be here. Half of the draw to moving to 218 Duke Lane was that I was at the very end of the road. It's really quiet. We enjoy the woods surrounding us, and like sometimes you can hear a little bit of 111, but generally it's really quiet. And that was the reason we chose that property. And I would just say, you know, we were really shocked by the logging. I think that if we had known that was going to occur, it might have made us second guess whether we wanted to move to this town and move in this house in Lyman. I think that we've been a great contribution to the town already. My husband's the medical director for your EMS service. And I would say that it's really affecting the lifestyle that we came here to live for. And we're definitely not looking forward to the noise and how it's going to impact how much we enjoy our time here. So,
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well said.
Other public comment?
No, it was just public comment, but yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Greg Mitchell, 38 Dorothy Lane. I'm going to change topics here. So I'm president of Massabesic Little League. I came to you guys back in either late April or June to talk about Chadbourne Field at the library. We loosely discussed the plans to renovate that to a softball style field. The field has been pretty much dormant since the mid 90s from all the records that we could look for. And we kind of got basically approval. I worked with Mr. Hatch, who's no longer on the board anymore. But back in late April, I got approval from him, and he said he talked to Lindsay saying to move forward. That we were going to work with Bill Single, the irrigation design, to do that overhaul. It's obviously always busy in the summertime for them. We didn't care if it happened until late fall, which is now. So we just want to make sure that we still have approval to go forward with this. Again, the what we intend to do is change it to a softball style field, so a dirt infield. We will be able to utilize it for t-ball, softball, and minor league baseball. Like I said, it's currently a Babe Ruth field. Well, if you want to call it a field, it's very
Practice there, I would not call it that.
right. So we'd be able to utilize the field for Massabesic Little League and the town, whoever wants to use it. Just for our organization, we have 450 kids currently in it last year. We had over 40 teams. So field space around the adjacent towns is very limited. So any more space to open up would be obviously a huge benefit. Massabesic was just going to work with irrigation design. We're not asking for any money from the town. We just want to reutilize the field that was there that's not being used at all.
I just have a question,
Yeah.
actually. And this isn't that I'm expecting the Little League to do anything. I just want to clarify from a safety perspective. So as we go into budget season, as far as benches and dugouts, because like I said, M did practice there, and like there's a hole in the dugout roof, and the benches are not benches. I wouldn't even know what you call them, benches. So if you all don't plan to do that, that's okay. I just want to make sure that from a town perspective, we think about that in the budget process.
Yeah, I mean, we do have field cleanup days that we do have volunteers that help patchwork other fields as well. I mean, that's something we could definitely look into. We can definitely work with the town if they want to pitch in and help, or if they want to just say, please, get a facelift for us. Right. In the near future, we would want to just use a place as a practice facility first. Then with the goal of moving forward to actually have games there. So if we wanted to actually have multiple games there all season, I would like to have the benches,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, either way is totally fine.
Work,
There's no
you know,
right or wrong. It's not
right.
gonna
And then later on have, if we're going to actually have real games there, maybe at some point put a new scoreboard, and that's something that we can fundraise for. Definitely. So,
Jess, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Since I wasn't here.
Yeah, no
On
problem.
the board. Do you have any kind of plan on that drawn out?
It's just the basic dimension of a Little League baseball field from the Little League website itself. So they have a detailed dimension maps there.
Are you working with Bill Senior or Junior?
I'm in contact with both of them.
Is it something that you can get Senior to put down on paper?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like a detailed map of
with an overlay of what's there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
we definitely can. Yeah.
he has
Because
the
we'll be
technology.
moving the like home plate, for example, right now it's like 50 feet from the backstop. That's way too far for any Little League field. Right. So that would get moved to the standard 25 feet from there. And then it would be the normal dimensions of a dirt softball field from that point. That's like this origin point of that going out.
Yep.
But those maps are available. They already have those.
If you
but
can
we
just overlay it on what's there.
Yeah. I don't see why we couldn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know when you brought that up before, I was apprehensive because I didn't know if the other league was done with it, and I have had that information satisfied. I saw that they were done with it in writing, and so I have no issue with it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's good to have it used.
Yeah.
So I have no.
Anything is better than what's
I'm
there
not
now.
against that at all.
And you guys already have swing sets and other little, little parks there for other kids to enjoy too. So it's going to be a good attraction for
And
other families to, bring kids to go practice. And
would there be
little
room
ones.
for everyone if the music in the park is still going on and there's games at the same time?
Well,
It would have to be at different times. The season's over by the time music in the park starts.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Right. I mean, the season's only goes to early June, and I don't think you guys start until July, right? So I think there's plenty of overlap there. So.
And just for one other note, we have a Buildings and Grounds Committee, which Tom Hatch is actually on. So if you were dealing with him, you can touch base with him again.
Okay, yeah, I do have his contact information. I don't know if that's where he
guys
went, or
want-
if he just, stopped doing that, so.
I was just,
Yeah,
do you guys
yeah.
want buildings and grounds to oversee it?
I think if they just get what
Some
Dave was
info?
saying is the layout, right,
Yeah.
measurements, so that
Yep.
they're aware of it, but otherwise, I think good to go. We
Yeah.
already kind of told you all.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have to remove some of the dirt that's there on the topsoil and stuff like that and bring in regular dirt to get the loam out of there, get the stuff to grow out of there, so. But,
There's plenty growing.
any other
Still a
questions?
little crab grass.
I think it'll
So,
be good.
so moving forward, I want me to communicate with Mr. Hatch.
I'm only one of 4 right now,
I
but
would say if you send that sort of general diagram to Lindsay, I
Okay.
think she can send that.
Yeah.
Fair to say, you could
Looking
get that to Building and Grounds to just say, hey, because I think the 2 members on Building and Grounds also were on the board when this was presented, so I think that just satisfies that, and if they have questions, they can ask them, but I think we were all.
Okay, and then once that's
Like,
good, then
gets it to be
we'll
used.
have the green light to
Yeah.
to go for
Make
it.
a motion.
If that's what you feel.
Well, if we make a motion and we vote on it,
Yeah.
and then it's public record, and then the information can
Let's go. I'm
come
ready.
through Lindsay to go to wherever committee, and we're still informed,
Perfect.
then that works for me, so.
I'll second that.
All right, I'll make a motion that we allow that to happen.
Yeah.
Second that. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Sing that.
Hey, thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg. Any other public comment tonight? Okay.
Boys, their door shut.
Because everybody was still having their own
Oh,
conversation in the hallway and I didn't all listen, couldn't hear.
thank you.
Okay. Let's see, I'll just jump into mail. The York County dispatch log is in the packet, which is also online. And again, anyone that likes data, this is a good little read
Definitely is.
of what the York County Sheriff does for our town. Let's see, jumping into unfinished business. Any updates on the franchise agreement?
Nothing's new.
Perfect.
Reports.
And then item B, the quote for the replacement bridge at Bucknett Park. We tabled that from last meeting. And I think it was because we have to put that out for more than one quote, like we have to put that out to bid based on the dollar amount.
If that's the route you guys wanted to take,
We have,
sorry. I mean, or like I said, where you could, yeah, I think you could budget for it, or we could come up with different ideas. I know Bucknett Park Committee has talked about some alternative ideas for it.
so, hold on. I just want to backpedal. I think the biggest reason that we tabled this was because regardless of what the route is, we have to put this out to bid based on the dollar amount. Right?
If that's gonna be, yeah, but I don't know. Do you want to chime in, Dave?
Yeah.
Sure.
So the last meeting that we talked, excuse me, there was a few questions about the stanchions going into the, what would be the wetlands or the spring.
Correct.
So I'm not sure what came back from Acorn in regards to those questions. Karen, might you know? And
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Okay, so bottom line, we don't even know which direction we're
Correct.
headed necessarily.
Correct, because
based
it-
on all of the rules.
there's a possibility of doing which could go right over it is a clear span wood.
Okay.
And then you're not touching the ground and dealing with DEP or anything like that, but the committee really hasn't
Right.
decided on that.
So I think what I'm hearing is that we don't do anything with this until the committee brings forward.
It's my understanding it's not a committee project, that the bridge is a town project.
Correct.
Right,
Okay.
but so you guys appoint the committee, and if you want the committee to work on it, you can delegate that to them because it's related to Bucknett Park.
That hasn't been done.
So then we
Part
have
of
two
the project
choices.
statement.
We have two choices.
So pause for one, hold on that note, then how do I have this? Like who?
It was brought to me, I brought it to you guys.
Is that the quote for the bridge?
Yeah.
My understanding is that Michelle did some legwork or Karen, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so what we did is we went out for quotes for entrances into the waterways.
Okay,
And because
it's
we
coming
knew
back.
that the bridge needed to be replaced,
Mhm.
we had Sebago Docks include the bridge in the
Okay.
quote that they gave us, but only as information for the select board for the town.
Okay.
Right, so if you guys want to take this on, you can, we can go out to bid, but the last time I was at a Bucknett Park committee meeting, they talked about some alternative ideas, what, maybe going some different routes that might not cost this much money, I don't know. But, it's not, there's also a project statement for the Bucknett Park Committee, and it very clearly states, like, the select board can delegate stuff, so that's totally up to you guys.
Okay.
So we're just kind of in a weird spot where it's like,
Right.
what do we do?
Sorry, I don't mean to seem so confused. I'm like, what do you want me? What do you want us to do at this stage? What do you-
So since then, I went there. It's about 50 feet long.
Mhm.
I talked to a supplier of telephone poles
Mhm.
that could be basically laid down up over the whole wetland, spring, stream, whatever they consider it. I got one of my vendors to donate the lumber to frame it and potentially put all the handrails on. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I spoke with Rusty Blackington, and he said that he would love to do that project. So I'm not sure, again, it going back to the committee, whether they would like to see a metal or a rustic wood bridge, but
You're on the committee?
Board liaison.
I'm.
You're the liaison to that committee.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you gonna run with this and either talk to the committee or come up with?
Well, I'm
like,
I'm
a
talking
better
to
proposal?
I believe we
one of
last
the
time
members.
had said we would like it to be the rustic feel and not metal.
Okay, so that puts it a little more, I want to hear a little more
I
back from
wouldn't disagree
Acorn.
with that statement, but I guess I'm not ready to necessarily take action if what I'm hearing is that there's a potential alternative route.
There's a potential alternative route
Yes.
that would cost
Flesh out that,
much less.
and will
less.
you flesh that out a
I
little
shall.
bit more for us?
Yes.
Is that
So-
fair for everyone else?
Well,
I don't want to speak for.
Because of this dollar amount, we would have had to put it out to bid.
Correct.
And if it's, if it's less between 5,000 and 9,999, then we have to get 3 quotes.
Right.
But if we have specs, then all the quotes could be based on the same thing.
Correct.
One of the reasons why the aluminum and vinyl, I believe, was it's because the lastability over wood.
Right.
Rustic's nice and all, but it does turn back into dust at some point.
My only question was the stanchions in the ground
And the wetlands.
supporting it.
But
So,
you,
yes, I'll flesh that out.
But we do it needs to be replaced. It's been
Yes.
Band-Aided a million times.
Yes, I
And
agree.
it needs to be replaced. So how we go about doing it, I'm not really tickled to spend $13,400 on it. If there are alternatives,
well, that was a starting,
So
a
I'd
good
like to know
starting
what
point of
those
the
are.
conversation, so.
I believe, sorry, that Holly, the other Holly has somebody she knows that maybe can work on telephone poles also.
Oh.
So she was gonna work on that. And it's something I think why we're bringing it to your attention is because it has to be replaced probably before it opens.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
knew that part, I just didn't know how I got, okay.
Yes.
I'm good now.
No.
I'm better, sorry.
And it's kind of, I think it's been developing since the last time you guys
Right.
met on the 16th, so it's just
Okay,
more things keep developing and
yeah,
so I would say that we just let things develop and talk about it again, but we don't have a whole lot of time if we do want to get it done soon.
Well, nothing really can happen before the forester cleans up
Right.
everything that's there. So once that's cleaned up, which I'm hoping before the snow flies, then that could be the first project to go.
Because even if we have a plan and it's ready to go first thing in the spring, I mean, that's before the park opens as well. But you can never depend on everything melting just right.
Right.
So anyway, that's cool. Good to know.
okay,
I don't think we need to take any action at this minute, do you?
I do not.
Do we want to task the committee with figuring out what they think is best for the whole thing? I mean,
I
that seems like that's what you guys are doing.
Trying.
That's kind of what I just heard, right? There you go, liaison.
Yes.
Thanks for the info. All right, item C, Joe and Karen for the AARP age-friendly projects update.
Okay, what you received in your packet was a copy of the notes that I took at the AARP age-friendly meeting in Portland. A lot of stuff there. I supplemented that with some things I heard from 3 other communities that made a presentation up at the MMA annual meeting. So I think, look at it this way, that we have a large menu to look at. One thing that I would recommend is maybe once a month, an ad hoc committee membership, a representative from all of the existing standing and ad hoc committees, just to see where we are in terms of discussing these types of programs. Now, there were a number of things I think that might be of interest to Matt. The Yellow Dot program, familiar with that one? It's a situation where it's a freebie. In the glove compartment of a vehicle is an envelope. You have the yellow dot on there. You respond to an accident. And you'll find in that envelope information on any health conditions of anyone who may be in the vehicle. address registration program. I don't know if we have something along those lines. That again, if you respond to a particular address, in advance, that there may be some conditions that some of the residents have that makes the I think the EMT response more efficient, more effective. So for this in the packet and what I sent out to everyone today about what the other towns are doing, just for discussion purposes in the future. Again, maybe once a month. I know we have more than enough meetings, but a little discussion of what other localities are doing, and maybe something that we could replicate and modify. Let's see.
When you say like liaisons from other committees, what do you mean by that?
Well, cemetery committee, the historical society, Bucknut committee, the Billington facilities, represented from all of those that can take a look at this again menu and sees what we may be able to affect. The giving committee in particular, there's a lot of ideas here that they may be able to consider, such as, let me see, it is Chelsea up near Augusta. They have this 12 months of giving approach. Each month, something new, heating assistance, non-perishable goods another month, something like that. It's a neat idea.
Yeah.
I like some of the names of these committees that the other towns use.
Yeah.
The Grateful Undead. That's funny.
Yeah. And they've got their own website to boot as well. Let me see. I think of greater import is the grant application. I think you each have a hard copy of that. Karen has been working on this. And essentially what it would be is a request for $10,000 to help defray the cost of ramps, something I think Dave, you suggested at Bucknut with the town footing the balance, which was, I believe, somewhere in the ballpark about $5,000. I think 1,500 altogether, 15,000 altogether was the price tag.
That's a rough estimate. The person I've been communicating with was out of town, and he got back to me today, so he said he would get me something tomorrow. That would include the ramps with railings and wheels.
So everyone's got a copy of that. And application due date, I believe, is on the 15th. So any type of modification that you suggest, get that in advance. So we can,
October
finalize that.
15th?
Again?
October?
October this month, yes.
I looked at this online, but it's very thorough.
So maybe a motion to approve the application, so we
I'm
go
just,
forward with it.
I do have a suggestion.
Sure.
If you guys are applying for grants, I don't see it, it's an issue just to like apply for a grant. Because even if we get approved the money and it's for maybe a project the board doesn't want to move forward with, you can always just like not use the money. So I don't know if the board needs to like, you can make a motion if you want to approve this or, get feedback from each other or whatever. But I think if there's a deadline, October 15th, I mean, I would just, like, I submit grant stuff. I don't, and then we either get it or we don't, but
Well,
might help expedite things.
I'll make a motion that Joe and Karen can go after grants without coming back to us every single time they want to go out for a grant.
I would second that motion.
Do it then.
I just did. Any discussion?
No,
All in
I'm down
favor?
with it.
Right, now we're gonna run wild.
Happily. No, I
Don't go
appreciate
too
that. I
crazy.
think you guys, I really, I'll give you props.
This is awesome.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
It's time and effort.
Absolutely.
I know what it takes to write and maintain a grant, and
This is fun stuff.
it's time.
Oh, good.
So thank you. I appreciate all the work you guys have put into this.
That's great.
The other element is the survey that we're working on. We'll get together again on Wednesday to make maybe a final cut on this. And Karen's been working with us in terms of distribution opportunities for that. So we have more feedback from the community to build on in terms of future applications.
Cool.
Thank you, Joe.
That's good. All right. Department and committee reports. We have the fire chief's all hands report. Matt, I didn't know if you
Yeah,
had anything to
I
add
just
to
want to
that.
talk to Joe real quick, if that's okay.
Sure.
So I'm very interested in what you're calling the address registry.
Yeah.
We actually have part of our records management system it's called Community Connect. Obviously, there's a fee there to purchase that. But if you could add something in your survey to find out if there's interest in the community, you could definitely justify us putting that in our budget and requesting that to.
I know this model program, I'll send you the notes that I took on the AARP meeting, but Berwick, I believe, has a program like this in place. And the library director, Sharon Kelly, is the contact point person on that. So,
I was also reading about a Knox box
yeah.
thing, so maybe there's multiple options out there for the type of thing we're trying to get at.
Yeah, Knox is a little separate. We're actually trying to start to push that out, residential Knox boxes. Basically, it's a box that you put on your door, and it's hung on your door so it can't be taken off. And there's one key that can get into that box. And it's similar to that, but it's one, I shouldn't say there's one. There's 8 of them, but they're all in our fire trucks. And we can only get those keys out by putting in a 4-digit code. So I know who takes those keys out. So we take the key out, we go into your Knox box, get your key out to your home, and then go in if there's an emergency versus the alternative, breaking the door down or something. So, yeah, I know Arundel uses Community Connect as well, or they at least used to. Definitely something that has piqued my interest, but knowing that there's interest in the community to participate in the program would justify spending the money in my eyes.
Yeah, that's the survey.
And then our open house Wednesday night,
That's right.
5 to 8. Should be a good time.
Be there or be square.
I'll make sure it happens.
Looking forward to it.
That was Wednesday?
Thank you.
Wednesday.
5 to 8.
Correct.
And then we have a treasurer expense report. Okay. Jump into new business. Item A, staff review committee.
So the CEO asked me, she wanted to put together a staff review committee, and part of the zoning ordinance is that there needs to be at least one select board member part of that staff review committee, because it's made up of like the road commissioner, the CEO, the assessor, a select board person. So she'd specifically asked for either David or Victoria. You guys can rock, paper, scissors, or duel it out if you want, but
Flip you for it right now.
flip a coin. But that's what she requested, so I put that on here.
I'll make a motion to appoint, thank you, Vicky to the staff review committee.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
Is it appropriate to vote for myself?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can vote for yourself to get it this
Thank you.
table. I feel like you can vote for yourself to be on a committee. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, Vicky.
All right.
Cool.
And then Parks and Rec has a request for the approval of $7,829.25 from the playground fundraiser expense account to purchase the new playground set. It's exciting.
It's one of those ships, isn't it?
It
I saw
is.
that in the warrant.
I'll make a motion to approve 782925 from the playground fundraiser expense account to purchase a new playground set.
I second it.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Expectation as to when it would be installed?
We couldn't do anything till we got the check, and they have to build it. So we're hoping end of November,
Okay.
it will be ready to be put in there. We'll see how long it takes.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, sorry, I
Not
didn't
built
mean to
yet.
skip you.
Can't wait to climb on.
I know.
And then we have a Parks and Rec request to waive the insurance requirement for town-sponsored yoga events. So if you remember our whole process of all the insurance requirements that we asked our vendors to go through. Sometimes when it's a smaller event or vendor, we waive this requirement just based on what it is.
Well, can I ask a question?
Sure.
What, if we waive insurance requirements, does that put the town?
They still
Seldom
sign the waiver,
agrees.
they still sign a waiver, right? When we do that, when we waive that insurance requirement, they still sign a waiver saying that they're not holding us liable.
Yeah. Basically, I'll just, with your guys' approval, that's exactly it. I just take out the insurance, but they're signing off on the hold harmless.
Right.
So they'll hold us harmless if anything weird happens.
So each yoga participant would sign one?
No, just the instructor.
Just her,
Like,
okay. She
basi-
actually has waivers that she gives
For her people.
the people, and they
Mhm.
actually pay her, so they're not paying the town.
Yeah, it's just because it's on town property. That's the only reason why we have the hold harmless.
It would be at the library.
Oh, so then I wouldn't even, I thought it was gonna be on town property, sorry. I guess
We
I
don't have
would.
any rooms.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I'll make a motion to waive the insurance requirements for the town-sponsored yoga events.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
What if somebody pulls a hammy?
Will all the participants sign the
Just kidding.
instructors? Come on now.
Downward-
Don't ask questions. if you don't
Downward
want the
facing dog
answers to.
fixes that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now, minutes. Review and approve the minutes from the last meeting on September 16th.
So moved.
Second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jumping into warrants, payroll warrant number 13 in the amount of $29,830.06.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to accounts payable warrant number 14 for FY25 in the amount of $730,784.42.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Were there any results back from Nelson Analytical about the water testing at Kennebunk and Buckeye?
All of them came clear. If they came back with weird results, I would have posted them. Yep.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Go ahead and start signing. There's much to sign.
Hey, I got 2 agendas. Want to do this again?
No, thank you, but no. Lindsay, do
We got time, yeah, right.
I fixed that one because you guys said there was some spelling errors,
Oh.
right? So some of you had signed it. So the way I wasn't here, Jeanette was covering for me, but like I had printed them out single page just in case there was any changes you guys recommended. I would change. Yeah, I was trying to be ahead of the game, but yeah.
So that's also.
Yeah, I think the only one who has to sign that is Dave.
He's winging his chair over.
Oh, boy.
Out. I can't drag race today. I think the brakes are on this thing.
Oh, they have breaks, so.
I didn't sign this?
No, I don't think you did.
All right.
Doesn't look like you did.
That one?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone.